articles sur l'innovation, la créativité, le leadership, l'expérience client et l'entrepreneuriat. Monsieur Laplan siège au conseil d'administration de plusieurs sociétés innovatrices à forte croissance dans les secteurs des soins, de santé et des services financiers. De plus, il siège au conseil d'administration d'une compagnie d'assurance maladie dénommée PHP of Northern Indiana. Welcome, Mr. Carl Laplan. Merci de l'applaudir, s'il vous plaît. 30 minutes. It's okay?
Thank you. We will go quickly. Well, good afternoon. It's great to be here with everyone to talk about innovation, entrepreneurship, and the things necessary to make programs grow all over the world. So for the last 18 years, I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and hundreds of accelerators, incubators around the world, looking at best practices and things that help to accelerate the company's success. And so today I'm just going to share some ideas through the lens of the entrepreneur, because I think as we think about the role of the incubator is to really increase the likelihood of success of the venture, and it's also to accelerate and help the venture grow faster. And so as we think about the incubator's role in working with companies, we need to be thinking about how can we increase the likelihood of their success, and then also how can we help them grow faster, more jobs, more revenue, more investment, the things that help them move faster. Over the last, several years ago, three of my colleagues and I wrote a book called Best Practices in Incubation, and we looked at hundreds of programs around the world to try to catalog what we thought were some of the useful success practices that incubators and accelerators are using to help really advance entrepreneurship around the world. So at our center, we really have tried to focus on 4 success pillars. And I think that's kind of message number 1. Incubators or accelerators need to focus. And where can they make the greatest difference and impact? And for us, we decided that there were really 4 entrepreneurial pillars of success, that if we could help companies work in these 4 different areas, we could help achieve that goal of increasing the likelihood of their success and also helping them grow faster. The first is access to capital. And that includes also bootstrapping, because the vast majority of early stage companies are self-funded. But then there are this small component of startup companies and emerging growth companies that seek outside capital. And so incubators have had to really serve as a capital connector to help these young companies get access to the capital they need. Second is talent, and this is where we work with universities and high schools to really try to make sure that the pipeline of entrepreneurs are there to support the growth and development of the company. We work primarily with higher tech, innovative companies, and therefore they require a lot of STEM or science, technology, engineering types of capabilities in order to drive the growth and success of their company. Workspaces, and this is where I would say it's incubators and accelerators and co-working spaces and maker spaces and proof of concept centers and corporate and university labs. We need it all. Entrepreneurs need many choices, and depending on where they are in the stage of development of their company or their idea, they need different workspaces for different things. They may need an accelerator for that minimum viable product. They may need the incubator when they're looking to add employees and grow their customer base. And we have to, in the ecosystem, make sure that we provide all of those things to the clients and what they need. And lastly is that networking. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. When we think about connections and being able to provide resources to help entrepreneurs, we need to be thinking about networking them to the various organizations that can help them, government, private sector, that can move them along the continuum of growth and development. Yesterday, there was a lot of discussion on the business differences between an incubator and accelerator. This just really shows you that they're both kind of focused on the same types of things, but they do them differently. And so when we think about early stage companies, they need a number of things. They need money, they need marketing, they need mentoring, and they need management. And depending on where you are in the life cycle of the company, you may need an incubator, or you may need an accelerator, or you may need both. In some cases, the accelerator may be your pre-incubation program. In other cases, the incubation could be your post-acceleration program. And so really starting to blur the lines between the differences in the entrepreneurial support organizations and really talking about what do these companies need in order to grow. One of the things, and this was touched on yesterday by Marcus when he talked about, successful incubators have a project methodology of how they work with companies in order to make them more successful. In our case, we follow many of the principles of the lean startup movement, but we have focused on a 3-step commercialization process to move you from idea to the marketplace. And those 3 steps are the assess, discover, and do. And so in that assessment period, we're looking at the venture, we're looking at the characteristics of the idea, the management team. We're using assessment tools to help us understand the risks associated with the venture. In the discovery phase, we're doing business model canvas. We're looking specifically at how are we going to make money with this venture? What are the different channel strategies? What are the relationships we need to have with customers? And then in the do, we're looking at minimum viable product, we're looking at prototyping, we're looking at those first customers. And so any of these project methodologies that you might see in incubators and accelerators, what we need to be thinking about is compression of time, money, and resources. The more we can compress that for the entrepreneur, the more value we can deliver to the entrepreneur and his or her team in the incubator or in the accelerator. We focus a lot on the entrepreneur. There are many, many studies that show that over time, the entrepreneur ends up having to leave their venture because at some point the venture outgrows the capabilities of the entrepreneur. And so if you focus on really 3 kinds of things that we've understood to have the greatest impact on the entrepreneur and whether he or she and the team might be successful are the following. The first is coachability. Does the entrepreneur and the team have the ability to take in information that may disagree with their point of view, but might help them make better decisions about their venture? Secondly is self-awareness. How aware is the entrepreneur about where he or she is strong and where he or she is weak, and what types of team members do they need to surround themselves? And then lastly is grit. And grit has kind of been universally defined as passion plus perseverance, right? The entrepreneur we know to be lonely, isolated, often hears no for an answer from investors, customers, employees they're trying to attract. And so the ability to have grit. So over a long period of time, as we look at what are the characteristics of a successful founder or founding team, they need to have coachability, they need to have self-awareness, and they need to have grit. So kind of the first thing to think about is entrepreneurship has been an overused word. Many people don't identify themselves as an entrepreneur. They may think of themselves as a scientist, a researcher, a clinician, a small business owner, but they don't often think of themselves as an entrepreneur. And we've come to realize that an entrepreneur really means 3 things. One is that the entrepreneur is pursuing an opportunity that somebody else values. So it's not enough for the entrepreneur to have a great idea or something that makes their life more better or more useful. They have to have an opportunity that somebody else cares about. The second piece is the entrepreneur has to create and capture value. So they have to figure out how to monetize what they have to make a business out of it. And then lastly, the entrepreneur has to manage incredible uncertainties. We talked a little bit about risk earlier today. The entrepreneur has many uncertainties that they have to manage as well. So as we think about entrepreneurship, one of the things that I've recognized over the last 18 years is the vast majority of people that have come to see me aren't yet necessarily entrepreneurs yet. And so our job is to help them become entrepreneurs, but not to assume that they're an entrepreneur that the day they arrive at your office for coaching and mentorship and support. Secondly is by referring to all entrepreneurs as entrepreneurs does not recognize the uniqueness of each entrepreneur. Each entrepreneur, you know, as one of my colleagues said, if you've met one entrepreneur, you've met one entrepreneur. So always be careful about generalizing what these entrepreneurs are, who they are, and what they do. Our job is to meet the entrepreneur where we find them and to help them take their idea and make it better. In the United States, you know, there's been a lot of research on, you know, are entrepreneurs born or made, and what are some of the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. And in the U.S. today, the peak age to start a business is around 40. In some respects, that's largely with our aging population in the U.S., not an issue here in Haiti. And then the motivation becomes very, very important. For successful entrepreneurship in any community, it has to be motivated by opportunity. So you see an opportunity to make something better or improve it, and you build a business around that versus necessity. I lost my job and I need to sell something so that I can provide for my family. Those communities and countries that focus on opportunity-based motivation are going to have stronger entrepreneurial rates, they're going to have stronger business formation rates, and they're going to have stronger employment rates in their community. What's also interesting in the US is that 52% of entrepreneurs are first generation entrepreneurs. We would think in the US, being a relatively mature economy, that more and more of our entrepreneurs would be serial in nature, that they come from families of entrepreneurs and that they've started one or more businesses. In fact, over half of them were the first in their family to launch a business. And so you can see entrepreneurship being a very big and important influence in our economy. And it was said earlier, when we look at nearly all the net new job creation in the United States is from companies that are less than 1 year old. So the power of entrepreneurship is an important economic engine for our community. You know, thinking about it, entrepreneurship also comes in many different flavors. And so when you think about entrepreneurship, there are solopreneurs that start a business and they're a business of one person and they don't look to grow beyond that. And then there are second stage businesses that are businesses of 10 people or more, and they're looking to grow at double digits per year. You know, and then there are more businesses in the United States that are home-based businesses that are looking at additional income, but they're not looking at replacement of their primary job. And so one of the things that's important when we talk about entrepreneurship is to be able to speak about what type of entrepreneurship are we trying to influence in order to get the economic impact, in order to get the economic prosperity we're looking for. And largely in the United States, when we talk about the entrepreneurship, we're talking about those that have created jobs that employ other people beyond the founder. One of the recent studies in the United States was done by the Gallup organization, who looked and determined that only about 2.5% of the US population has the rare and special talent for entrepreneurship. The rest of us have to account for those talents. And talents include things like determination and confidence, being a creative person, being somebody that's a lifelong learner. And so what's interesting here is this is where the incubator can come alongside the entrepreneur in order to improve the entrepreneur's likelihood of success. In this case, the vast majority of people that I see every day are ones that have to account for these talents because such a rare percentage of people actually have all of these 10 talents that are required to be an exceptional business builder. And rare and special in this study was defined as an entrepreneur who had the ability to produce or create more than 10,000 jobs or a company of more than $250 million. And so you can see this really opens up a great opportunity for Alpha Haiti, for all incubators and accelerators to come alongside the entrepreneur in order to help them be more successful. Peter Drucker in the United States is kind of the father of modern management, said entrepreneurs are crazy because why would you leave, a stable job and start a company when it would be much better to work for somebody else and have a salary coming from them? And I think what we have to recognize is entrepreneurs, because of that loneliness, because of that isolation, they need people to come alongside them. They need people to provide the empathy and the emotional support. And that's another important role for the incubator to play, is to help create wellness for the entire entrepreneur, not just for their idea and their business, but for the entrepreneur and his or her family. We spend an enormous amount of time at our center making sure that we have programs that support the entrepreneur in wellness, and that's financial wellness, that's spiritual wellness, that's health and wellness, to really make sure that we come alongside the entrepreneur to make sure they have what they need to be successful. As I had mentioned earlier, not all forms of entrepreneurship create jobs or higher standards of living in communities. We have to make sure that we're developing and cultivating the right types of jobs for our community. And I do agree with the speakers earlier, especially in smaller communities, you don't have to be picking particular industries or sectors. When I started in this industry in 2000, there were basically 3 technology sectors that everybody universally kind of described as higher tech. Today, there's such a blurring of the lines of what that means for companies that we can certainly be agnostic on the technology. What we have to make sure is that we have that skill set and that tool set to support the entrepreneur and his or her team to provide them what they need in order to be successful. An interesting thing about entrepreneurship is 99% of all entrepreneurs start a business where they live. So for any community anywhere in the world, when you think about economic development and you think about public sector support for economic development, putting money into communities where those jobs and those people who start those companies are going to stay local, makes a huge dividend, because you are likely to see those jobs and companies grow locally, as long as you can provide, what I showed on that first slide, as long as you can provide a continuum of capital, as long as you can provide the talent they need, the specialized skills that they need, as long as you can provide the creative workplace that they need and the networks that they need. Interestingly enough, a small state in the United States next to Boston, Massachusetts, just announced that they were paying $10,000 for every job or company that would start in their state. And they said for the first 3 years, they would fund 100 companies, $10,000 over a 2-year period of time to start a company in their state. So we'll see whether or not they can disrupt this model that shows that most people do start companies where they are located. One of the things I think, as we discuss a lot about entrepreneurship and innovation and incubation and acceleration and co-working and all these different things, is we have to put the entrepreneur first. And so the entrepreneur, as you'll see in this next chart, let me see where it is here. The entrepreneur in the United States has over 25,000 places where they can go for service. Right? So what differentiates our incubator program from anyone else's? What do we do better than anyone else that provides that entrepreneur with the services and the capabilities that they need to be successful? And so it's really important that the entrepreneur has choice and control over the format, over how much of their company they give up in order to bring in outside investment, and what's going to help them move faster and further than others. And so let's just go back for a second on mindset. I think we have to, and it's exciting to see so many young people that have been at this conference, because in the United States, over 70% of high school students want to start their own company. Yet in the United States, only 11% of adults actually do. So I do think one of the things that if we can do a much better job here in reducing or increasing the number of students who actually think about starting a business and actually do start a business, will create many more opportunities in this community that will be beneficial to the quality of life and to the educational system and to everything that entrepreneurship does. But there are really two paths for people in entrepreneurship. One is to start a company, but equally important is to develop an entrepreneurial mindset. In the United States, when employers are asked what are the skills that college graduates do not have or that they're deficient in that companies need, those skills are the ones that form the entrepreneurial mindset. So intellectual curiosity, passion, resilience, adaptiveness, those are the things that companies in the United States, they say they want in employees, but that the universities aren't necessarily educating them in those areas. And so as we think about entrepreneurship, I think we should be thinking about both paths. Some people are wired to want to start a company. Other people can benefit from the entrepreneurial mindset. They can benefit from having opportunities to experiment, having opportunities to fail when failure doesn't carry with it lifetime consequences, and the opportunity to develop a mindset that leads to and drives behavior. And for many of the US companies that say these are the skills they're missing, what they want is that entrepreneurial attitude and orientation in their workplace. Another important thing that I've learned over the years is that most entrepreneurs don't think they need anyone's help. So the way we have to orient our resources is we need to be thinking about what are the resources, the connectivity, the things that we can do to help move the idea, the entrepreneur. How do we tear down obstacles? How do we come alongside the management team? But when I ask entrepreneurs what they need, most often they would say, I need capital or I need employees, right? And that's really only the tip of the iceberg in terms of the services that the entrepreneur needs. But most entrepreneurs don't recognize what they need when they first come to see you. And so it's really important to be thinking about and taking a very consultative view of how we work with the company to understand what are the resources they need, what are the constraints on moving this idea and commercializing it. What are the connections that they need or the doors that they need opened in order to help this idea really get off the ground? And so, you know, when you talk to entrepreneurs, they'll often say they don't need help, but what they do need are those resources and connections. This is a really, you know, we spend so much time thinking about the idea and the entrepreneur. And we talked a lot this morning and even yesterday about client selection. But think about this chart for a second. 97% of all US patents don't ever make any money. And so when we think about value, we are going to have to see a lot of ideas in order to find the ones that are going to create value. The more people we help, the better we get at it. So a lot of the learning curve in entrepreneurship is very similar to the healthcare industry. If I do a lot of open heart surgeries, I get better at it. And so think about that as it relates to entrepreneurship. The more people we serve, the better we'll be able to figure out where we can create and capture value, where we can see where these commercialization opportunities. And you can see in the United States, and this is, you know, entrepreneurship is a very well-seasoned, matured industry in the United States. 95% of all patents, you know, fail to launch or commercialize. And of all those patents, 97% of them never make a dollar. And so as we think about where we can add value, where we can make a difference, we're going to have to see a lot of ideas in order to find the ones with the commercial value that investors are going to want and that our community is going to want. So a couple of final points as we think about this, and it was said earlier, don't underestimate the time duration to success. Some of the serial entrepreneurs in the United States, one in particular you may have heard of, Brad Feld, said this is at least a 2-decade-long process of changing culture, being able to produce sustainable long-term results. So we really have to think about the fact that in our launch, we need as much support. And this is one of the things I always tell our government partners. When I first started, they asked me, how long do you need our financial support before you'll be on your own? And I said, well, if we do our job right, we'll need your financial support forever. Because if we're producing the kinds of results and the ROI that our community expects and wants, then you should want to put more money in us because we're a great investment. So as we think about it, don't underestimate the time duration for success. The second thing is, in the United States, there's been a lot of research on why do companies fail. And I think these 3 reasons may be more universal, but certainly applicable in the United States. The first is the number 1 reason companies fail is lack of product market fit. So the number 1 reason that they fail is that it's the wrong product for the wrong marketplace. Number 2 is they run out of money or they need more money, so they're undercapitalized. And the third reason is management problems between the founders. There's been a lot of research that says if you have more than 2 or 3 founders, you increase the likelihood that the venture will fail. 2 partners, 2 founders is much better than 4 founders. And so as we think about how we structure our programs, how we ensure impact, how we meet the entrepreneur where we find them, we need to be thinking about these reasons they fail in the back of our heads so that we can work with them to sidestep those obstacles, so that we can work with them to meet them where we find them. And I want you to remember that the vast majority of entrepreneurs are not entrepreneurs yet. The vast majority of people that we label as entrepreneurs are business owners, people with ideas, innovators, scientists, researchers, doctors, but they're not entrepreneurs yet. And this is where there's great promise and potential for Alpha Haiti, is to come alongside these entrepreneurs and to be part of their management team and to help them sidestep the obstacles. And again, coming back to where I started, to increase the likelihood of the success of the venture and to help them grow faster. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Carl Laplan. You stay with us for the next panel. Yes. OK. On a eu les stratégies, les conseils, les pratiques pour stimuler l'esprit d'entreprise. Donc là, tout de suite, on va avoir un autre panel et ce sera l'enseignement supérieur et la technologie. Donc là, on aura comme intervenant M. José Manuel Martinez Sierra, qui était avec nous il n'y a pas longtemps, Dr. Tristan Fiedler, qui nous vient de l'Institut de technologie de la Floride, M. Fritz Deshommes, qui est recteur de l'Université de Haïti, UEH. On aura M. Carl Laplan, justement, qui est avec nous, qui vient du Northeast Indiana Innovation Center. M. Patrick Attier, de l'École supérieure infotronique Haïti, qui devrait être avec nous. M. Hude Nord, professeur à CTPEA. Et comme modérateur, on a Michel Boiron, qui est là avec nous pour modérer ce panel. Donc, merci aux intervenants. Thank you very much. Et je remets donc la parole à Michel Boiron, qui doit mener ce débat. You have exactly 25 minutes. Vous êtes fatigué ou quoi? Pourquoi vous n'applaudissez pas la nouvelle équipe là qui arrive? Ils sont là pour vous. Bien à vous, Michel.
Bonsoir. Nous là, je dis pour nous parler de enseignement supérieur avec technologie, qui importance que ça gagne dans le développement au pays et pour qui ça nous t'a supposé en technologie dans le niveau ça. Welcome everyone. So we're going to go straight into the discussions, and while you are explaining and answering, you could talk about yourself and what do you do with your organizations. Prof. Jose Manuel, we have the Maslow theory about hierarchy of needs. And my question is, we are seeing a shift where students from modest background are able to achieve more purpose. And I know at Harvard University, you are taking more students that that are from not only the cream of the cream, but definitely students that you want to help. So I would like to know how has technology helped these students overcome their basic needs left unsatisfied to access higher education within Ivy Leagues and become more successful? Are you able to?
I'll go with that. So, well, as I sort of explained before in my presentation, I think that those who you will see in the international rankings, like in the top 10, 20, I don't think they are representative of the higher education in the world. So they are really concrete higher education institutions, and they pursue, just to give you a data, at Harvard College, I spent quite already a number of years teaching. There are like around 42, 43,000 applications a year, and only 2,200, 2,300 get in. So that gives you an idea. Those who apply are, as you say, the cream of the cream, or well, they are definitely really good students, not only from the US, from all over the world. As I said, this is part of the success. Once they are there, you really have to be a really bad professor if they after that are not successful. So they are successful beforehand, and then they go through for years. So, of course, one thing is that they can be a student from here that could apply, and if they get in, they are going to have full tuition. It's not the let's say the market of those universities, but of course, you might get in, and then you are going to be full tuition. But besides that, I think that those universities, of course, Ivy League and other universities in the world, research universities, they have a lot of contents that are now open. We talk in other panels about the MOOCs in other places. So I think that in order to be successful, there are two things. That local universities took advantage of those online courses that are really well prepared. I do it in my class, so you can do it in any class. I've been teaching in Latin America, in Europe, and I'm teaching in the US. So you can take those valuable assets that you have there. They are put in Coursera, they are put in edX, and then you use it in your class. And the students definitely can take advantage of those resources that are for free, and in order to improve their skills and to make more the best out of their education. If they are not provided by the local faculty, they can have access on their own. That's what I would recommend.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Frizesum is replaced, and question maintenant c'est sur alphabétisation technologique. Ouais, Jean, professeur, on a parlé de compétences. Donc, qui ça que nous a fait dans niveau supérieur, l'école supérieure qu'on y a là, pour nous faire compétences technologiques yo entrer dans le curriculum yo. Donc, c'est pas comment nous mettons ça à nos priorités dans l'université d'État, pas seulement dans la faculté des sciences, bien sûr.
Alors d'abord, une petite rectification. Je suis Jocelyn Louis Saint, le doyen de la faculté d'agronomie et de médecine vétérinaire de l'Université d'Haïti. Et je remplace le recteur Fils des Hommes qui est empêché. Okay. Et la question, c'est qu'est-ce qu'on fait pour vraiment inclure la question, disons, la notion de technologie dans l'enseignement supérieur. Okay. Vous savez que l'Université d'État d'Haïti, c'est le plus grand centre d'enseignement supérieur du pays. Nous avons pour le moment environ 35 000 étudiants et sur une base annuelle. Et à travers nos différentes facultés, que ce soit la faculté des sciences dont vous avez parlé, et aussi la faculté d'agronomie et de médecine vétérinaire, on essaie de la mesure du possible de pousser les étudiants, nos gradués, à prendre part dans l'entrepreneuriat. Essayer de voir comment ils peuvent venir avec des idées nouvelles. Mais le plus grand problème qu'il y a dans le pays, c'est que quand on a ces idées nouvelles-là, si on n'a pas de moyens financiers, on ne pourra pas investir. Et voilà pourquoi cette initiative-là que l'État vient de prendre pour créer ce centre incubateur, ce Alpha Haïti, ça va permettre aux jeunes diplômés d'avoir une possibilité pour concrétiser leurs idées nouvelles, leurs idées novatrices. Et l'État haïtien vient tout juste de conclure avec l'Université d'Haïti un contrat-plan. Et ce contrat-plan doit permettre à l'UEH d'améliorer de manière progressive son curriculum d'enseignement, à inclure tous les... Parce que vous savez qu'après le séisme du 12 janvier 2010, on a eu beaucoup de dégâts, même au niveau de nos équipements, de nos laboratoires, tout et tout. Mais avec cette nouvelle approche, on va continuer à améliorer. Il y a des efforts qui ont été déployés. Et nous allons poursuivre sur la même lancée pour que nos jeunes tiennent compte non seulement des aspects strictement techniques, mais aussi de l'aspect environnemental, de l'aspect écologique, pour que les projets, les idées qu'ils sont en train de développer, ces idées-là soient complètes pour avoir des impacts positifs, non seulement sur le marché de l'emploi, mais aussi sur l'environnement du pays en général. Merci.
Thank you. Mr. Carl Lappen. Well, I know you have the NIC and the Innovation Park on a 55-acre, right? That's a big location. And it is dedicated to accelerating the growth of innovative companies. So what is a certified technology park? What does that mean? And help us visualize this environment. What can we find there? And what are the key elements to that?
Yeah, a certified technology park is by our state, it's a certification process that acknowledges a community has certain assets to help in technology development and economic development. And so in order to be certified, you have to have a business incubator or accelerator. You have to have a formal relationship with the university, and you have to offer innovation, entrepreneurship, and commercialization services. And you have to go through regular review of your metrics and the things that you've achieved in order to keep the status. The nice thing about the status is you have special taxing jurisdiction within your park campus, so the monies that you take in from the payroll paid by the employees gets reinvested back into the park. So it's a source of sustainability for the funding of our park. Our park works in all sorts of higher ed and high schools to really get more entrepreneurship activity going. We have programs that help accelerate student ventures where we give them money, mentorship, office space within the incubator to help them grow their idea and to test it before they decide if entrepreneurship is for them. And our park really has today over 250 people that are working in all sorts of innovative and high-tech sectors. They are all generally employers of 1 to 25 employees. So we have 45 companies in our park today. And our hope is to build a manufacturing center of excellence and also do some things in healthcare to try to spawn more innovation.
Thank you. Professor Noel? Well, là, nous réponse que Liban, comment vous pensez que technologie a fait impact sur l'économie? Là, où gain higher education, enseignement supérieur, là, vous mettez technologie là-dedans. Le team yo fait business. Comment vous pensez que il a un impact pour nous?
Merci. Et dans le cadre de l'événement, ça, c'est une question vraiment importante. Et nous avons quelques exemples, non pas très théoriques. Mais avant tout, pour tout étudiant en faculté des sciences là, il écrit que je professeur CTPEA, ce qui est parfaitement vrai. Même si professeur de faculté des sciences, il a demandé pour me dire ça, et me dit ça. D'accord. Et il y a en pile façon. Et éducation supérieure avec et technologie capable d'un impact, mais des impacts très importants sur l'économie du pays. D'abord, et si je fais référence à une intervention qui a été faite hier, M. Lumelu, qui t'a dit qu'il y a un facteur qui est important pour lui-même comme entrepreneur et qui est valable pour un pile entrepreneur, sinon tout, investir dans le pays, c'est l'image pays. Et nous étions quoi que l'éducation supérieure contribuait en pile à améliorer l'image du pays. Un pays capable tout petit, mais qualité université le gain, qualité l'école qu'il gagne, fait que les bien vu, fait qu'elle bien placé dans la perception monde et en général dans le monde. Deuxièmement, si nous connaissons à mettre des situations en Haïti spécifiquement, et il y a 20 ans, Faculté des sciences en 1998 créé un programme qui relait MBDS Haïti, MBDS qui fait partie d'un réseau et de master spécialisé et il fait partenariat dans ce sens avec l'Université de Nice, Sophia Antipolis. Eh bien, non seulement MBDS gagne différents impacts, il m'a précisé deux dans l'impact. Le premier impact là, c'est que avec spécialistes de haut niveau qui formés dans MBDS, eh bien, ça diminue considérablement quantité et spécialité qui pas dans le pays que nous avons importé, que nous pas importé. Deuxièmement, ça diminue tout quantité de technologie, par exemple, quantité de programmes que nous avons acheté, que nous pas acheté encore. Et ça valable, par exemple, si Patrick t'a pas en réponse, il t'a dit exactement le même bagage là. Troisièmement, c'est que l'on vient gagner des formations comme ça de haut niveau, ça vient mener à la création d'entreprises. Je ne sais pas si y a accusé de faire publicité, mais par exemple, MBDS est à la base de création de, par exemple, Solutions Haïti, qui c'est une entreprise technologie qui gagne un pays. Il y a la base de création transversale, qui c'est une institution commerciale et technologique qui est très connue. Pour me décaler plusieurs exemples comme ça. Donc, oui, et qualité éducation supérieure, et qu'on y a là, le mélanger avec technologie, nous avons joindre un pilote exemple qui va dans ce sens, mais comme on n'a pas gagné un pile temps, je vais prendre là toujours, peut-être dans tourner.
Merci. Directeur Atier, donc, je que fait quoi avec nous sur panel là, parce que même vous gagnez l'enseignement supérieur, ou gain test, et puis en même temps, vous gagnez easy. Au moins, donc, je vais expliquer vraiment qui différence il y a. Est-ce que test est en bas easy? Et puis ça qui est important, c'est comment que programme ça, qui différence il y a et comment modèle ça, où est que vous gagnez succès. Vous avez succès, côté élève vous arrivez.
Avant de me répondre à la question simple, pour expliquer un petit peu sa thèse là, thèse en plateforme de formation à distance que nous développons ici et qui a regroupé un ensemble de pratiques essentiellement selon la norme européenne pour offrir à des étudiants haïtiens une opportunité de se former à distance localement, si je puis dire. Ce que nous avons constaté, c'est que l'offre de formation à distance dans le monde, il y en a beaucoup. Et je peux vous dire que quand nous, en Haïti, on a commencé à y réfléchir, nos étudiants étaient déjà dessus depuis 1 an ou 2 lorsque nous, on a commencé à y penser. Et le problème de ces formations à distance, c'est qu'elles ne sont pas diplômantes. Lorsqu'elles sont gratuites et lorsqu'elles sont diplômantes, elles sont payantes et elles commencent à coûter assez cher. Donc il y avait un besoin local de proposer quelque chose qui soit développé et géré localement, sans réinventer la roue, en reprenant ce qui est déjà fait, qui est bon, mais en essayant de créer un produit intégré qui permette d'offrir une telle plateforme. Aujourd'hui, on est en train de l'utiliser dans différents contextes de formation continue, de formation professionnelle, avec une organisation qui s'appelle l'ACNIC, Latin American and Caribbean Network Information Center, avec les UPR, les universités publiques en région, et aussi avec certains programmes de l'ESI que nous sommes en train de mettre en ligne. Donc c'est un work in progress. Mais un élément que je voudrais rajouter, c'est qu'aujourd'hui, on se heurte à un problème important, c'est que la science n'est pas sexy en Haïti. Lorsque vous allez dans une classe de première ou terminale, dans un lycée, un établissement secondaire, et que vous demandez aux élèves combien d'entre eux veulent faire une carrière dans les sciences, et je ne parle même pas d'informatique, je parle des sciences en général, vous verrez que même pas 5% des doigts se lèvent. Aujourd'hui, tout le monde, et je crois que ça a été dit par une dame tout à l'heure de l'incubateur 3737. Tout le monde veut être avocat, tout le monde veut être médecin, tout le monde veut être ingénieur civil, parce que les seuls ingénieurs dignes de ce nom sont civils, ils ne sont pas autres que civils. Et donc, on est dans une logique de, aujourd'hui, créer des générations, une génération, et ce qui a été fait avant déjà, de jeunes qui ne sont pas scientifiques. Et on sait aujourd'hui tous qu'un pays qui n'est pas scientifique n'a pas d'économie, n'a pas de pertinence en termes des décisions qui se prennent sur la planète. Et je crois que les chiffres le montrent un petit peu partout. Donc un des challenges qu'on essaye et c'est difficile de le faire tout seul évidemment, mais un des défis auxquels on est confronté, c'est de convaincre la jeunesse haïtienne qu'aujourd'hui, l'opportunité, l'argent, les emplois sont dans les sciences. Même en Haïti, dans notre situation chaotique, les opportunités sont là. Mais malheureusement, la grande majorité des jeunes n'en est pas conscient.
Thank you, merci. Dr. Tristan, hello. And so I would like you to explain to us how you are making partnerships between Florida Institute of Technology, the government, and the private sector. What has this helped with funding your university research program? And I would like you also to explain to us when you do, how do you capitalize on universities' inventions when they do get commercialized?
Excellent. Well, first of all, thank you very much. I'm from Florida Institute of Technology. We're a private nonprofit research university located in Melbourne, Florida. We are the most international university in the United States, and we have approximately 130 foreign countries in our student body. So we've been working with cultures from around the world for many, many decades, and that's a point of pride for FIT. To start out, the success of the institution, in my opinion, is the success of our students. And the success of our students can be measured two ways. It can be measured in, are they gainfully employed upon graduation? But then also for the research component of the university, are they doing cutting-edge research that leads to publications and high-quality journals? That second component of the research starts to tie in the corporate connections, the federal government connections, and the academic connections. The overarching component at FIT is that students have the ability to do things hands-on. And I made a few points to this yesterday. We can provide the general education, but it's the environment, such as Alpha Haiti, that provides the catalyst where they can go on and do great things. So for example, we have a digital scholarship laboratory in our library, which is really a shared space. Students come in, they exchange ideas, and it's an extremely vital and vibrant, active unit of the university. We also have a student design center, and that allows students to work on their independent projects, either independently or in small groups, but also it connects in the corporate sector. We have many different high technology companies in the area, and they sponsor, they advise, they mentor, and they hire. And so when the students are working on real projects with someone from the real world working with them, or at least supervising them or giving input, it provides a chain of support from the moment they walk onto campus till when we say goodbye and good luck and you've done great. Don't forget about us in the future. So the private partnership aspect of Florida Tech is a very important component. One last example I'll finish with is that a few years ago, we were successful in receiving a seed grant from the federal government, similar in nature to what Alpha Haiti is doing here. You have government support. And we've started the Center for Advanced Manufacturing and Innovative Design, known as CAMID, on our campus. That facility has university input, it has state, local government support, it has corporate support, and it started out with federal government support. It is growing into a facility where students can work on projects. They can be mentored by faculty and at the same time have local companies engaged in it. And so that's just one of several examples on how we foster the connection between the students who come to campus and those who leave our campus. And then the last thing he said is, how do we capitalize on all this? Well, two general camps. One is we continually, as all universities do, evaluate the intellectual property that comes out of the university. Faculty members and students, they come to the administration and they say, we have ideas. And we look to see, is this something that has market potential? Does it have commercializability? If the answer is yes, then we support those students and faculty in protecting their IP and moving forward with marketing the technology and licensing it for revenue. But just as important, as we saw on Carl's slide a little while ago, the overwhelming majority of patents don't generate money. In those cases, we very, very quickly let the faculty run with it. If the university decides it's not something that we want to support, we don't hold anybody back. And so we say to the faculty member, this is all yours, best of luck, but they at least get the answer very quickly. So in conclusion, we capitalize monetarily in those aspects, but then the equal footing of this success is that the awareness and the recognition, both locally and globally, of the ecosystem that Florida Institute of Technology is providing for our students, our faculty, and our corporate partners, that starts to bring in a higher and higher caliber of student, stronger companies work with us, and all of our boats start to rise in this tide. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Dr. Jose, I would like to know how your current organization could collaborate with Alpha IT, and also how do you think that we can add value to the organization? Because sometimes it's one way, but we do want to know if you see potential in nations and how we do put input into your organizations.
I think that the important thing for these projects, like mine, is to customize and add locally and getting benefits globally or regionally, as I was presenting earlier. And from that point of view, the important thing is that what is your strategy and what you don't have here and what you need, besides brands and things that can be convenient, which actually you don't have here and you can need from somewhere else. It might be Harvard or it might be other place. So that I think this is the essential question you have to answer. So without those questions, I wouldn't be able to give you more than a general answer. But of course, in large research universities, there are a lot of resources And there are at different levels, there are a lot of faculty, researchers, students that could help in different levels. And probably what I would say, and what I would start is that this younger talent you have here to connect with the younger talent that we have there. I think that will be bottom top, and students collaborations, the kind of Harvard likes. And I think that will be a good start point.
Thank you. CEO, Carl. So the same question for you. How do you see organization could partner with Alpha Haiti, and especially, let's say, if Asian startup will want to come to your hub, is it possible?
Yeah, we're currently partnering with organizations in China, Russia, Taiwan, Germany. So, our organization and our culture around global engagement, I think we would welcome opportunities to do things that bring things to the United States, and also things that would come here as well. So. I think our onboarding process for that is a natural one, because that's something that we've been passionate about for a long time. Some of the areas that I think would be interesting for us is obviously Internet of Things, specifically in digital health. That's an area that we want to specialize in. While we tend to be very agnostic on technology, in the Internet of Things, we've tried to take a more deliberate strategy. So looking at how we could access ventures here that support any part of the healthcare delivery continuum that would improve patient experience, quality outcomes in the healthcare environment would be an area of particular interest.
Thank you. Professeur, directeur Atier, comment aimeriez-vous collaborer avec Alpha Haiti?
If we look around in the world, we see that we take the GAFAs, for example, Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon. They all emerge in a university. If there was no Stanford, if there was no MIT, if there was no Harvard, there wouldn't be any Google, any Facebook, and many others, and Microsoft, by the way, too. So the incubator, our local incubator, should be anchored very strongly to the university ecosystem, and the university ecosystem on the other side should be one of the providers of gray matter to Alpha. The economic model also of Alpha is a very important thing. The governance structure of Alpha for the next 2, 3, 4 years is going to be very important, I believe, to the success of Alpha, and this has to be addressed, and I'm sure it's being addressed right now. But I believe the universities can bring resources and value and people also to help with that. So, but the focus, I believe, should be, and this is maybe the one of the values that universities can bring, is to help with consolidating and reinforcing research in Haiti, at least in the areas where we can start, where we have an embryo of research. And there are a few, believe it or not. We have some knowledge in water quality at Université Quisqueya. We have the MBDS that Udnor spoke about at the Université d'État. We have some knowledge in virtual reality, in augmented reality, and in artificial intelligence. It's an embryo, but it's there. The people who are dealing with that are very competent. So, and believe me, I've looked around in the Caribbean, and in general, the Caribbean is not that much advanced in science. Haiti is behind, yes, but it's not that much behind. Cuba is the most advanced by far in the Caribbean in terms of science production, publications, etc. So we have a card to play if we make the right investments and if we devote the right resources to those areas, because this is where the value is produced. Value is not produced in the streets anymore. Value is produced by people who have a high level of education coming from good university. This is what's happening in other parts of the world, and I don't think Haiti has a better solution than that. So to answer your question, the value we can bring is gray matter, certainly, good, competent people, And some of our resources also are certainly a key area where we can help. And research, also embryo of research, consolidation of this embryo of research is certainly an area where we should work on. And Alpha might help us do that by bringing us ways to transform this embryo of research into maybe businesses, startups, etc. So
Thank you. Professor, no, 10 seconds?
Yes, I will bounce back quickly on some very important points that have been mentioned in the two presentations before, but I will do it in Creole as usual.
Yes.
Pour moi, important